I'm Rick Goldring, and welcome to Burlington Matters here on Cogeco TV. This is a program that I've been hosting for the last couple of years, where we feature topical discussion with leaders in our community about the goings-on and current events and affairs that are happening in the city of Burlington at City Hall. Today we're talking about Habitat for Humanity, specifically the Halton-Mississauga version of Habitat for Humanity. Many people know about Habitat, but we're going to have a lot more discussion today and provide some in-depth discussion. But Habitat for Humanity does promote safe and affordable home ownership options with the aim of alleviating the cycle of poverty within our community. So I'd like to welcome our guests today that have a connection with Habitat. First of all, our CEO for Habitat for Humanity, Halton-Mississauga, John Gerrard. John, welcome.
Thank you.
And we have Bert Krikke. Bert is the Director of Family Services with Habitat. And we have Bulent, Kalfa, who is part of a partner family at the new Glendore Road development, just off of Plains Road, just to the west of Brant Street. So that was built by Habitat, and we welcome all of you to the show today. John, in a nutshell, can you give us a brief history of Habitat? I went on the website today. It's got a long and illustrious history. It mentions the fact when Jimmy Carter got involved in 1984.
Correct.
That was not the beginning.
No.
That was just when Jimmy Carter got involved and really helped promote it. Absolutely. By his involvement. But there's a rich history prior to that.
Habitat has been, thank you very much again for having us. It's great to be here. Habitat has had a long history, started in Atlanta, Georgia, actually, with a husband and wife, last name Fuller, who felt that there was a need to find housing for those that really were not being serviced in the community and needed something to help them. By our philosophy is a hand up versus a hand out. So Mr. Fuller's philosophy was, how do we help people help themselves become more self-sufficient? So that's where Habitat started. As you mentioned, great. Jimmy Carter has been a huge advocate, and actually this year Jimmy Carter's coming to Canada as one of our largest Jimmy Carter builds. So internationally every year, it's kind of like the Super Bowl of Habitats, I would like to say. So he'll be coming to Edmonton. We'll have our own build in Acton, Ontario this year, but we'll continue that trait with himself and Rosalind, although they won't be here with us, they'll be virtually here.
He's an amazing man. Oh. He's an amazing man. I mean, unfortunately, he only served 4 years as president. I think people would look back at those days as being the good old days compared to what's going on today.
Absolutely.
But he's a real gentleman and a real humanitarian that's made a difference on so many fronts.
Oh, true. I like your word, humanitarian. He has truly gone outside his area and just. He has a momentum. He has a following of in Edmonton this year, almost 23,000 people from around the world will come because of him, because he's motivated and helped so many people around the world. So Habitat's had a long history. We've been very successful. We have over 100 affiliates in our service area across the country, made up of small volunteer groups to those that are run by staff, and obviously our main objective is to build housing for those that may not be able to have the same safe and decent opportunities that others do.
So back in 2013, and one of your strategic objectives was to in fact build 50 new homes across Halton. Now you have merged with, if that's the right terminology, with the Mississauga branch of Habitat for Humanity. So now it's all of Halton, which is Halton Hills, Milton, Burlington, and Oakville, as well as Mississauga. So what impact does that have on your objectives, recognizing that 2013 your objective was 50 new homes for Halton. Now you've got Mississauga. Right. You've got 1.1 million people in the marketplace. How has that changed?
You know, it's challenged us as a not-for-profit charity organization. We set a goal in 2013 that if we truly wanted to make a difference in alleviating the cycle of poverty and helping more families, that we needed to do more. In order to do more, we set ourselves a bold objective. We had built 17 homes in 12 years. That's fantastic, but it probably wasn't hitting the mark. So we chose to say we're going to set that at 75 and 5. And I'm glad to say that at the in our pipeline today, our property pipeline, the way we like to call it, we have 78 homes in our property pipeline today. As I sit here today, we'll have 55 homes done by the time 2018 finishes. We're very excited about that. Did we hit our goal 100%? No, but we're learning how to do it better. We're becoming better builders, and we're becoming a better organization for it. But with Mississauga, it adds a different set of challenges. Both regions are very different in essence. So I think it'll only make us better, make us stronger, and I think it'll give us more opportunity. But we're going in the right direction.
Well, I'll come to Bert just here in a second, but certainly the need for what Habitat for Humanity, the need for you to be successful delivering your objectives and your mission and vision and values has never been greater than it is today when you look at the soaring real estate prices in the greater Toronto Hamilton area. I mean, it is crazy how much impact that has on people not being able to live where they want to live. But anyway, we'll may have time, we'll come back to that.
No
Bert, you are, your official title is the, what is the official title? Director of Family Services. Yeah. And so you're involved connecting hardworking families into the Habitat for Humanity family. So how do you select families to become partners with you in the new homes that you
really
build?
Keys in a big part of that is really the hand up, not the hand out concept. So really understanding that we want to help hardworking Canadians. So within a certain income range, plus or minus, and it really depends on the size of the home that they want to be in or the amount of bedrooms that they need. Right. Okay, so within the income threshold, also we want them to. We always want to focus on, are we really helping each family? So do they have decent credit? Have they shown the ability to repay a mortgage over the period of time? We don't want to put our partner families in a situation that might appear to be a hand up, and it's actually not a good thing for them. So we focused on those kind of parameters financially, but then also we look at fit. So being a partner family like Bulent, and we'll talk about that later. The commitment to representing the organization. We, once a partner family, always a partner family. So we provide training before they have home ownership. Right. We're working and developing training and support and constant communication after they get the keys. We don't want to just give Bulent his keys and then kind of leave him on his own and his family. So we want to consistently, and being a partner family means helping others get the same home ownership that they get. So being able to promote, to come on shows like this, to spread the word, to have people aware of just how important home ownership is for families to raise their families in.
So the income range that you try to serve, what's the range of incomes approximately?
It goes all through. There's a whole spectrum on it. So it would be on the low income scale, and it all depends on, as I said, the amount of bedrooms needed for the families.
If I can just jump in for a second, a perfect example would be Plains Road, where the original project was a low income around the $20,000 mark for a single bedroom home, and to as high as if you had a 4 or 5 bedroom home where you'd be around the $60,000 range. But it depends on the region. It depends on the current housing formula that we use, depending on the community that we're in, and the need. So it does fluctuate depending on the audience we're serving. So
it is interesting, in fact, that minimum wage in Ontario is $11.25, and if you're working 50 or 40 hours a week for 52 weeks a year, it works out to about $1,700 net take home per month. And then you've got to pay for your housing, you got to pay for your transportation, you have to pay for your clothing, you have to pay for your food, and all the other things that families have to pay for, or individuals have to pay for. So it's I mean, the demand for what you offer is huge. Obviously, if somebody as a single person can get into one of your units with an income of $20,000 or $24,000, that's an amazing opportunity for that person.
And the concept we have geared to income, so the mortgage payments are always going to be based on what their income was for the previous year. So we ensure that they never get overwhelmed with housing costs.
Right.
So that's where that's a key part of the program that we offer.
So we're going to come to Bulent in a second. Did I pronounce your name right?
That's right.
Bulent. But John, just tell us a little bit about the project and the condominium development where Bulent will be living.
So a couple great things. So Bulent's going to be in a 13 with 13 other families in a wonderful location on Glendore. It's taken us about 28 months to develop, build, and hopefully give Bulent in the next few days or next few months as we kind of finish up the project. It's a combination of stacked townhomes. It was totally built by volunteers, with the exception of some trades that we need, obviously, for we build just like every other builder. So I would love to say that our volunteers are on third stories, but they're not, for health and safety reasons. But the project itself turned out to be really beneficial. We raised over $1.5 million in fundraising. The project cost us about $3 million, and thanks to government and their help, we'll also see a little bit of a partnership there at the end in a contribution through the Investment in Affordable Housing Program of about $600,000. So altogether, we're going to put 13 great families in, and overall, we're excited to finish the project. Over 28,000 hours of volunteer time went into it. So really great things to say about Burlington.
So Bulent, how did you get connected with Habitat for Humanity?
Our first contact was that Juan, our son, volunteered at Habitat when he was going to high school.
Oh, really?
A couple of years ago. After that, something happened. Maybe it was a miracle for us. We have family friends, and we lost each other for about like 2 years. And we see each other very often before. One day we met that family in Burlington Mall, and they mentioned about the Habitat Home program. So we wanted to be involved. I applied just one day after, with all paperwork, everything was done. So it was our dream. And our dream was coming true. So we didn't even wait more than one day. I just applied for it. Our family friends mentioned about that home program.
So you found out about Habitat for Humanity, you applied within 24 hours?
Exactly.
And how long did it take you to be accepted into the program?
As John mentioned, it's more than 2 years. It's about 28 months old, beginning to end.
You were accepted, I mean, some time ago. It's just the project took 28 months, but you were accepted some time ago.
That's true, yeah. So for us, maybe it was a little bit different because maybe we're going to talk about that later. Our unit is different, it's bungalow. Right. Other 12 units are 3 stories. And the reason we're going to have this unit, I have rheumatoid arthritis. And then when we apply, we talk about this. And I mentioned my rheumatoid arthritis. I have a knee problem. I have big pain when I take stairs, when I climb up. So that's why our time was a little bit different than others, because there was only one unique house. It matched with our needs. That's why maybe a little bit less than these 28 months. Sorry.
So tell us about your family. Who's going to be living? I know you haven't quite moved in yet, but you're almost there. Who's going to be living with your family unit?
We are a family of 4. My wife, Victoria, works full-time in Burlington. Right. Our son, Juan, studies software technology at Moore College. Okay. And our little princess, she's 8. She's attending Sacred Heart of Jesus French Immersion Program, grade 3. As John mentioned, we are going to move to our new home next month, hopefully, March. We are still living in our subsidized housing. We have been living there for 3 years, in Burlington.
And the attraction of where you're going to be compared to where you are now is more independence. What is it? The specific attraction to the new arrangement that you'll have with Habitat?
So you mean compared to where we live now? I mean, it's like North Pole and the Equator. It's a huge difference. Okay. So this home is, first of all, brand new. Everything is fresh. Everything is bright. So we love it. We love it. It's one beautiful home with the 3 bedrooms.
One level?
One level. Everything is there. So one beautiful home with the 3 bedrooms. Yeah. Everybody has one part they love it. For example, his bedroom is far from living room, so he thinks he can study very well there. It's quiet. Yeah. So Valeria, my daughter, she loves the skylight in the bathroom. But she doesn't know yet. Nighttime she cannot see stars. Probably with that show she will learn it. My wife Victoria, she loves entrance. White, very, very white. We didn't have it as white as before. So everybody has something. I love something we don't have it, which is stairs. Yeah. So everybody has one point to be happy. Exactly.
The stairs with your rheumatoid arthritis.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So it's so painful. Every single step is trauma for my knees. Very painful. I take them one by one. Sometimes even I cannot do that.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back. I do want to say thanks to Bert for joining us today, because we've got Emily coming in after you for the second half of the show. But if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Habitat for Humanity, Halton-Mississauga, and all the great work they're doing in all our communities within Halton and Mississauga. And we'll be right back. Welcome back to Burlington Matters. I'm Mayor Rick Goldring, and our discussion today features some guests from Habitat for Humanity, Halton-Mississauga. And our new guest for the second half of the program is Emily Johnson, who's a co-op student in social work at York University, and she is also the Family Services Coordinator for Habitat for Humanity, Halton-Mississauga. So Emily, welcome to the show.
And thank you for having me.
So I just introduced you. You're the new person on for the second half of the show. Why don't you just give us some background about how you got involved with Habitat? What attracted you?
So when I first started my degree, I actually thought I wanted to be a high school social worker, so part counselor, part social worker, that sort of thing. And through my degree, what kept coming up in my mind was housing and how important housing is for stability. And at every turn, every course I took, housing came up. And so in the summer, I'd actually seen a job description for Habitat for Humanity, a summer student doing the same kind of work that I'm doing now. And I thought, I should pursue it. And so I did, and I didn't actually get the job, but I was invited back to become a placement student during the year, and so I took the opportunity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done. And I understand you hope to work full-time for Habitat when you finish your studies.
To stick around here.
You've made that very well known, even prior to us going on air.
Hint, hint.
So what exactly is your job entail as Family Services Coordinator?
So my job, it focuses around application intake. So I'll be seeing the applications for people applying for our housing program.
How many applications do you get?
Oh gosh. By the end of 2016, we had over 200 applications on the go.
During the calendar year.
During the calendar year. So that would have been all of 2016, and that accounts for both Halton and Mississauga.
Wow. And how many people out of those 200 would have been accepted into the program, recognizing you have a limited supply of new housing to accommodate people?
A very, very small portion of those, and a lot of it has a lot of factors playing into that, whether that's income or debt load or that sort of thing.
So John, you've been involved with the organization for how long?
5 years.
5 years. So you've seen a lot of new families come on board. Do you have a story you can share with us about something that really touched you and inspired you? And I think every family probably touches you and inspires you to some degree, but is there nothing that stands out?
Rick, you know, it's funny when you enter into this kind of an environment. You intend to look at a criteria. Is traditionally how we try to look at this, and to be as fair and equitable to all the families that apply. But you start to meet families through a process, and to Emily's point, some of these families are applying year after year because they're trying to get their debt load in order. They're trying to get that first part-time job, or go back to work, or find another location where they can fit their child into better schooling, and so they're moving around. One family in particular has been with us for about 4.5 years. I started with them. We were about to approve them 4.5 years ago. A change in lifestyle happened. Unfortunately, they fell out of the criteria, and for the last 3 years they've been working hard to get there. And some of those times, I have to tell you, from a human perspective, it breaks my heart that we can't sometimes adjust our criteria. But as Emily said, there are so many folks that need our help, we try to keep it as equal and as equitable as possible. So even as to last month, I got a call from this young lady who with her daughter have been trying to get their situation corrected, and as you know, we're looking at trying to do a build here in Burlington for 18, and she's like, can we still count on it? I think I'm close. That's the exciting part. She hasn't given up hope. She's continuing to be positive, and that gives me hope that we'll be able to help her out in the future. So
here's somebody that has a particular objective, but in order to even be considered as wholesome a person as this person is, you do have your criteria around income and debt and so on. This person has a debt issue.
Correct.
And they're working hard to deal with it.
Absolutely.
So that they can be eligible to be selected.
I mean,
so even that in itself, even the work you're doing, that in itself is a great service to people. Even if they don't eventually come on as a family, as much as you want to take them on as a family.
Absolutely. And I think to what Bert said earlier, and I think what Emily could touch upon, is those families are continually coming back to us, taking educational courses, learning how to manage that debt. How do I manage a family budget? Some of these folks are just struggling with some help. That's all.
Can you tell us about, so Bulent, you and your family are moving in to Glendore Avenue in the month of March, hopefully, and there's already people living there in the development. Have you met any of the people that you're going to be your neighbors yet?
Couple times. So we had meeting in the building site before. That was the first meeting for me. After that, we had some meetings in the office. So we had lots of chance to talk each other, to get know each other. And last organization was the key ceremony. So we were together. So it was very cold. So we just talk and try to forget the cold. Yeah, many times we know each other anymore. We are very lucky to be neighbor of those nice people.
So, when you started out, John, when I say you, Habitat started out, it was single-family homes. I mean, that was the focus. But you've adapted for the circumstances of where we're at, recognizing that there's not a lot of room in Burlington or other communities in Halton or Mississauga for brand new single-family homes, which has been the tradition at Habitat. So now you've built a 13-unit. Home, really, a home for 13 different families, which has its own benefits, right, as far as getting people to connect and building that feeling of community within those 13 units. Correct. Emily, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I think it's so cool to see all of the families coming together, and I've been involved in a lot of the home inspection walkthroughs with the families, and just as I was finishing up yesterday afternoon, the family that I was doing the walkthrough with had come outside, and their neighbor was already in his house, and he said, "Oh, hi Ria, how's it going?" And she says, "Oh, great, are you living here now? That's so great." It's so great to see the connection that's being formed between all of the families, and it really warms my heart. There's a really strong sense of community in that build. But
as much as having a single family home is great, and you do meet people in your new neighborhood as a new Habitat family in a single family home and the people that live in the area, but this is a little different, right? There's some real commonality. Right, and esprit de corps and support I can see developing in natural relationships of nurturing.
Absolutely. Rick, sometimes people tend to look at some of these developments as I hate to say the word ghettoizing, but there's so much passion and there's so much love and there's so much desire to be better that they support each other and they grow. And so when we're moving from a one single family homes to multiple levels, duplexes, stacked townhomes, we are truly looking at building better communities using the energy and the commitment of these families and our staff and the volunteers, thousands of volunteers who help with this, to build better neighborhoods. And I think, I hope when people look at our projects, they're looking at that we're putting good quality homes in neighborhoods so that we're respectful of the neighbors, we're respectful of the community, but at the same time we're really giving a hand up to some families that I think truly deserve it.
So in order to be a Habitat family, Bulent, you have to volunteer. And you have volunteered. Do you want to tell us about the work that you've done and the volume of contribution that you have made?
That's the procedure, we can say maybe like we have to complete 500 hours, but it's very flexible. You can be yourself, family members, or your friends.
Right.
When I started the first day, I back to home and I told them, don't worry, I will do all of them because I love it. I don't want to leave anybody.
So what sort of work are you doing?
I work in office because at first we were agreed all together. Working in restore or building site could be heavy for me because not only my knee but all my joints were sensitive. So I work in office. I really want to thank Mrs. Julie Watt. She helped me a lot about that. She is one of the best managers I work with. I work with Julie actually. I started as a researcher. After 1 month later, I started to work with Julie. I update some binders, politicians' binders.
Not sure what you mean by that.
Exactly, I know everything. I make the place. We have one. I saw in entrance. So we have Cogeco TV has one the plex saw. Some of them hammer or different tools. I try to make them. We keep busy. It's like school. I learn lots. I update my office information. Our son was here last May and June. Even he's studying software, he learned designing website with Sandra. It's like school. As John mentioned, we learn how to make budget, everything. So we are over 600 hours. I really want to be there. When I don't go to office, if I'm not under Habitat roof, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I just want to be there. So it doesn't matter how many hours. Unless they tell me we can't go home, I'm going to be there.
But the momentum that must be building in the organization with the number of families that you've set up in housing, and the relationship doesn't end when they're in their home. You continue to work with people and mentor them as they need it, but I can see that the families mentor each other. I can see those developing. Mm-hmm. So there's a real momentum, I sense, a real snowballing effect that you're just building on success after success after success. And I can see people, watching our discussion today wanting to know how they can get involved and what they can do. And you don't have any shortage of volunteers, or do you?
We always can use more volunteers,
so
absolutely.
You're always open to consider people that want to volunteer at the Restore or help out on
build
sites
site, absolutely. Or volunteer with families. Rick, our organization works on 80% volunteers. Without volunteers, we would not be as successful as we are today. The momentum comes from volunteers. The word of mouth comes from volunteers, and that's what really makes a big difference.
So for more information, your website is?
HabitatHM.ca.
So it's very simple, HabitatHM.ca, and the HM stands for Halton-Mississauga, but it's HabitatHM.ca, and you can get connected.
Volunteer in 30 minutes or less, and we can have you out on site or in a store or in the office, like Bulent said.
Emily, if you could close the show today with the one thing or the one attribute of Habitat you want people to really understand, what would it be?
It would be that we're here to help hardworking families, that we want to give great Canadian families a hand up, not a handout.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Bulent, it's been great meeting you. I wish you all the best in your new home. You've obviously contributed a lot to Habitat yourself and all the contribution of 600 hours in the office, and I know that you're going to be a resource for Habitat on an ongoing basis. And Emily, congratulations on your contribution so far. We'll keep our fingers crossed, but there'll be a longer term opportunity for you in Habitat for Humanity Halton-Mississauga. And John, thank you very much for your leadership for the organization. We are fortunate to have such a compassionate, caring organization in Halton and in Mississauga doing what you're doing, and I know the best is yet to come.
Great.
So thank you all very much for tuning in today to Habitat for Humanity. I'm Mayor Rick Goldring.